ChatGPT, and I was like, this is not correct, right? Because I've had years of research and information to know, okay, this information I need to dig a little bit more. This site, I'm not so sure, it's outdated. So I think with using any of this technology, it's important for you, particularly if you have that background as a researcher like I do, to vet every site, to vet all information that's coming in and make sure that it's geared towards your audience. Perplexity or ChatGPT may give you a great answer, but is it the answer that you need? Is it the
Right.
answer is it fitting the piece of the puzzle that you're trying to solve? And I think really over this last year, with additional trainings and we go to these different conferences, we're really understanding of how you can work with AI, teaching your students how to create a resume, right? So that used to be very complicated, but now you can write that in. But once again, it takes also using that intelligence of your own to create that canvas that you want to display to the audience. ChatGPT or Perplexity or Copilot, right? So many different platforms that we use will be able to spew you knowledge, but you have to be able to filter that to make yourself sound authentic and use that really as a tool to help you to your success, but not as a crutch. You have to depend on it if you want to be able to understand information, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. That's incredible. So once again, also for our AI recording, we have Sawayla here, and she is president and also business owner at two different companies, organizations. And if you could just say once more, introduce your company and briefly what you do from a high level. We're very happy to have her here, and we're already learning so much. It just shows how where the pace of progress, probably you've noticed, I'm guessing, has been more rapid in the last 3 years or so. So yes, Sawayla here. And once again, we'd love to just hear your company, both of them, and what they do from a high level.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks. Yes. So Sawayla Ugwuegbu here, president of the Soloso Wellness Society here in the Woodlands, Texas, right outside of Houston. It's a private beauty school for professionals in skincare. We are at NCA, the first to be here in the greater Houston area. That's National Coalition for Esthetician Associations, very high gold standard of achievement, as well as we offer really the only oncology-based hands-on program here in the greater Houston area to really give our students a different tool in the tool belt for diversity, as well as understanding how to take care of those with medically compromised skin. I also am the owner and the chief wellness officer of Soloso Family Wellness, family-owned business. What I do with myself and my team of practitioners, I create wellness workshops, programs, health education sessions, and curriculum for businesses and organizations. So wellness really is the passion for what I do within the school as far as operations, growth, and visibility, as well as outside of that, of bringing wellness to the community.
Wonderful, wonderful. And could you, so we can kind of like try to see through your eyes a little bit and in your roles, what does a typical day look like for somebody from the perspective of both of your positions?
Yes, lots of emails. I can tell you that. Lots of emails of following up on tasks at hand, right? So with what I do in my role with growth and visibility of the school, as well as bringing in that wellness aspect, there's a lot of research involved in my day. A lot of that is dedicated to, and this is where comes the platforms of AI that's very supportive, is researching what's the cutting trend on wellness and aesthetics that's happening. What is the graduation rates? What are aesthetic students looking for? Understanding that the wellness industry is about to boom to a $4 billion industry in the next few years. How can we be a part of that? So a lot of that is research driven, results driven. For information to share with the team, we have a director of operations here that I meet with on a daily basis, at least twice a week, to understand what's happening within the school and how I support. And I also liaise and I work with the owner of the school to work with her as well. What's currently happening at the school, our growth, our trajectory, because this is a business as well. So working kind of on both ends with owners, as well as with director of operations, and as well as the students, bringing in wellness, as well as ensuring that they're in a safe environment and that they have the tools that they need to succeed here while they're at our school. On the other hand, with Soloso Family Wellness, a lot of that is a lot of preparation and planning. I ramped up on a Journey to Wellness workshop that we did here. I teamed up with another business here, a local business in the area, and hosted a mini wellness retreat where we walk through understanding what is yoga therapy, sound bowl therapy, and all these different modalities, and planning ahead to see when we're going to do the next one, gathering feedback surveys or attending events, networking business events to see what I can do to support. So a lot of what I do is research, community and connection, meeting with donors within the community who wants to give back to the school, sharing our vision, as well as looking for those opportunities, working with nonprofits of what we can do to implement wellness within their business as well.
And that's sounds like a very full plate.
Yes.
I imagine. I imagine. It sounds very uplifting and nice, though. I can almost imagine like a TV series would be really fun and enjoyable, kind of like walking through all those different spaces, especially in the setting of Houston and the beauty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know Abby Wilson by chance?
No.
She's out there. Okay. Yeah. She's just a friend. She's also an esthetician out there.
Oh.
So quick question for you. Are there any trends? You mentioned the research. Are there any other trends you're noticing in your industry with AI?
I see really a lot of administration and how-tos really with using that. We have access to technology. It's on our phones. We have so many different apps that we can use. I think really we teach our students to become entrepreneurs, right? Once they graduate, how to start their own business. And a lot of the tips that they need or tricks comes through ChatGPT, chatting with chat, and having an understanding of how do you write a business plan, right? Or what do mentorship opportunities look like? Some of that technology we see Canva, and then learning how to create a recognizable interactive Instagram page. Anybody can create their own Instagram page. But how do you create that so that you can gain more clients? What are the latest apps or trends or different platforms that people are using to cut and create videos and content for their web page? So a lot of that is really in the research and in the creativity aspect of what we see with aesthetics and wellness. A lot of times what we saw in COVID when everything was shut down, we went to YouTube, went to Instagram, and that spark itself really helps in people of, hey, I thought that just holding an orange and shaking a cup or this is actually funny and people are watching, how do I get more views, right? What type of technology do I need to use for this? What type of camera, what type of phone, what type of lighting do I need? So, and a lot of that research, you can go on to Google, you can ask a friend, or now you can go to an AI platform and they can give you different suggestions on how to do that. So we really see that trend of content creation as well as marketing themselves so they can have a successful business. Mm-hmm. And as part of the program at the school, we teach beauty as a business. That will bring in people to show them this is how you create a social media page. Even while they're here at the school, we have them to open their own page now and start posting and create your handler and network with other people. We'll learn how to make videos for yourself, content, how often you're going to do that. When's the best time to post? So really going deep and understanding how technology can be your friend, as well as finding that balance of not comparing yourself to other people who are out there.
Yeah.
How long they've been working
psychological side.
Yes, the psychological aspect, because it's very competitive. It's very competitive, especially with the aesthetics and wellness. It's all about your physical appearance, right? Really, in that industry. So that mental health, I think, is a key piece of that. And that goes back to different apps that people can use as well and promote that. So I think really the AI technology shift is really helping to train those estheticians post-graduation of how to better involve themselves and market themselves so they can be successful in what they do and continuing education as well. A lot of the curriculum that I create, like I shared earlier, I have my books, right, from years ago. There's a book back there, right, that I use. How I can compare that with.
Must be good.
Yeah, it's very nice. I do enjoy reading, but sometimes I need a quick answer, right? I don't have time to go through so many highlighted pages, but I can always compare and make sure the information is correct. So
Uh-huh.
a lot of my counterparts too, I've had to push them like, oh no, it's cheating. I can't use AI. I can't use ChatGPT. I was like, well, do you want to be efficient at your work? Do you want to sit all day and figure this out? Or do you want to use some of that brain power and have an assistant with you? How to create a logo for yourself, right? You can go on PowerPoint and try to do that, or you can ask chats and type
Right.
what's your ideas, and that's time saved for you of creating a logo. Then you can go to Canva and print it out and
Right.
go from there. But really use that technology to your benefit to help elevate you and save time and be
Yeah,
smart.
Oh yeah.
absolutely.
And how many students do you guys typically go through? Like, is it like a month? Like, how long is the courses, and how many students like the year do you work with?
That's a great question. So we have our course is 6.5 months for full time and 10.5 months for part time. And what's unique about our school is that we're private school. So maybe a competitor like Avante or the John Cooper, some of these other beauty schools, they may have 20 people in our class. So our maximum is at 8. So we have a very private setting that they can work one-on-one. It takes a little bit longer. We've got a lot more curriculum impacted, but we can have with a rotation of 18 to 20 students that may come throughout the year, depending on who's graduating and who's being enrolled. So it's a private school, private setting, but they really get a deeper cutting edge education and then maybe paying a little bit less, but a lot of instructors that we have here graduating from other institutions come here. They always say they wish they would have came here because of the care and attention. They feel more confident in what they're doing because a part of what our school, because we have the smaller class sizes, we're able to work with the community more and do private events. We're able to get hands-on practice. So we open it up. Whereas other schools, they don't have the time to do that or the resources either. We're not governmentally funded, so we really get to have a say in what we do.
Wonderful.
Well, that's interesting because, like you said, because the amount of effort you guys put into them marketing themselves, because when you think of a lot of types of schools, it's about the doing of the aesthetics or like in the hair salon, stuff like that. So, but this day and age, you really need that because you could be fully qualified to do the greatest facial in the world. But if you don't have an audience, I mean, you're getting no. And I see that in Facebook groups actually, where people are like, oh my God, I've been busy for 6 months and I'm getting no customers. How do you do this?
Yeah.
And you guys really focus on that, which is phenomenal. You guys are really on the cutting edge, it seems like.
Yes, absolutely. And it's like you said, that even when we have open clinic, they're here for 6.5 months and we have months set aside. They can invite their friends and family to come in and start experiencing. So by the time they graduate, they've built up a few members of their clientele because they've experienced their services for more than one session. Whereas you graduate, like you said, and now it's who's going to start coming and how am I going to market myself when you weren't given the platform to do so. So starting early, some people are shy, right? So they don't want to get out there. That's fine. They don't see posts every day, but you can be strategic about it, right? You know who you are and how to market your business and what you do, because we are in that age of social media. And that's really the best way, particularly for this audience, physical appearance, put filters on there, right? Or really make it engaging content so you can bring that clientele in.
So yeah, that's so wise. And it's like, it sounds like they're really getting what they pay for plus because it sounds like you guys are tackling the culture, their well-being after completion of the process and the program. And then also, which is so huge, that was kind of a foundation of marketing, is the psychology element of it. And if you don't have that, then it's like, that's challenging. You said a couple things that were very interesting, but first I just want to say, everyone who's listening, we will have both links to the school as well as to Soloso Family Wellness in the description below. So please check it out. And I just want to ask, or just to mention also about YouTube. You mentioned YouTube. What's really interesting, just as a quick side note, as I spoke with someone and know somebody who's very advanced in AI. I mean, they were discovering things that everybody is like excited about now back in 2022. And so they're just way ahead of the curve. But one of the things they said that is so interesting coming from them is they said, go to YouTube first for anything. Yeah, they said educate yourself about some details. They said you would be blown away the quality of information you can get direct from YouTube, and then attack the AI chat programs with that kind of foundation. So it's very interesting hearing them say that, because it seems so basic. But speaking of like the advances, are there any elements of AI that's generating any fear or uncertainties that you might have, or other people you talk to that they might have about this AI shift?
I think the vulnerability that's needed to have a genuine, educated answer from AI can be a little scary. I've heard from some people that we went to a training actually in Colorado, and there is a professor there in AI, and a lot of people were kind of hesitant. But she walked through the steps of when she talks to ChatGPT. It's, "Hi, Chat, how are you doing this morning? Remember last week when I was working on this? Would you please bring that file up? I want us to discuss," right? So now you're talking to Chat as a friend and a guy. And for a lot of people, they're just like, this is scary. Chat is learning about my life. He recalls information. It can pull information from weeks and re-advise you on this. And it can be overwhelming, right? It can be overwhelming. I think that part, sense of lack of control, is just going to turn into iRobot from Will Smith, right? What's going to happen?
Gotta watch that
That's
again.
going to come up here, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's that vulnerability that's a little scary for some people, but I really go into the emphasis of you're sharing this information so that you can be able to give an informed answer, or you can get the information that you need. Even if you look into an encyclopedia and you look up one word, it's not going to give you the answer if you're trying to do a research project. You have to continue to dig deep and deeper until you get the answer that you need. It's the same thing with using that technology. There's recently here in our community, I saw a headline of a young man who passed away, committed suicide, and jumped from the bridge because ChatGPT told him to do so. So it's that point of, and whereas others said that they would set the same prompts to chat and sent them to a suicide prevention hotline. So it's that caveat, right? Of where do we go in this technology? There still has to be human touch involved.
Yeah.
How involved that should be really is up to you of what you're looking to get out of it. But for me, I think having that human touch of interacting with chats and understanding what's going on helps me to better understand my role, not me as a human or Sawayla, but my current role, what I'm doing as a wellness practitioner, or if you're an esthetician, or if you are a tech guru. It's that certain role that you can pull, but that human touch should never be confused with chats, because it's a tool, just like Microsoft Word, just like PowerPoint, to help you to do your job.
Wow. That's so interesting. Yeah, I think you mentioned that human touch, and I was thinking about the same, and I wanted to ask what you were right now, like what excites you? What are you excited about? I'll just leave it open.
Yes. Well, I'm excited to be out. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I think I'm excited about right now connections, right? And connecting with people like you, connecting with so many different movements that are happening. And how do I involve myself in that? How can I be a part of that movement? We're seeing, like you said, a movement within AI, with wellness, and just there's a lot of interactions. And that's what gets me excited, is connecting, working with different hospitals, or we find a new community partnership that's in need of a service that we have, or finding out there's another wellness organization here that wants to partner with me to do a workshop, or those connections. That's what gets me excited. I am a people person. I like to be out, and I used to be very shy growing up, and everything just turned around. I don't know, somehow when I got up, please.
I feel you on that.
Like I just got to take life by the horn.
Yeah.
That's what makes me excited, is connecting and learning from people that I have never met before, because I think that's a phenomenon on Earth. You can meet someone one time and never see them again in your life, or you have an opportunity to meet someone you've never met and you connect with them and they become a part of the journey. That's what excites me.
Oh, so Will, I swear to God, even though that like the emails were short, we could feel it. We could just feel that energy.
Yeah,
And that's actually what we're all about.
There's some
amazing.
positive things that we can't even say right now just because, you know, we've interviewed more other people too.
Okay. Fair.
Wow.
Well, it's just the connection thing. And I think that's really where it's at. I think that especially now, I mean, obviously with AI, I mean, you start off with Facebook, YouTube, you get these different motions and movements and stuff. And then now it's just getting to the point where it's like the age of enlightenment in a way.
Yeah.
And now it's about sifting through the stuff, because one of the things that we've really seen as a trend is the concept is how do we get ChatGPT to tell the truth about a topic?
Right.
And that's been quite the zeitgeist now. Yeah.
That's cutting edge. That's actually what Andy's speaking about. So it's very interesting. So that's something that we are currently learning about.
Okay.
And that's on the cutting edge. And I'm sure Google and Meta are a couple steps ahead. I mean, if you haven't heard, they're building, at least Meta, and I'm sure Google is not far behind. They're building a data center the size of Manhattan, about the size of Manhattan. Yeah. And then what's crazy about that is that, well, let's just say every day inside tech, the amount of storage and server power required to do and to manage large language models seems to be decreasing as new research keeps coming out. The models keep getting smaller and more powerful. So that shows you it's like, wow, but the amount of servers and data centers is also increasing. So it's like, wow, what is going to be the capacity of these massive infrastructure? But you said something earlier about having kind of the human heart and spirit and consciousness being at the forefront of AI and not like controlled by AI. And it's so similar to like any kind of technology. It's like we want to have like this God-given gift of like consciousness and human perception of like what justice is, what fairness is, to be in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And there's this organization called Institute of Studies on Global Prosperity. And one of the things they talk about is what constitutes technology. Is it anything you can create that's more advanced than the thing before that makes it technology? Or does it have to do with how harmoniously it integrates with human beings, how it impacts the lives of children and communities and families? And then if it doesn't interact well, is it still qualify as technology, or does that have like a different name? Like, is that something else? So you just hit on that in such a way that it like really, it even kind of is speaking about it, kind of clarifies for me, even like some of the meaning of that. So we appreciate that. Yeah. So just another question, what level? It sounds like both of these, both the school and Soloso Family Wellness are at a pretty advanced level at the moment, or what level are they at and where do you hope to get to?
Well, there's always room for fine tuning and growth. Yeah, that's what I always say. The school has been going on since 2019. So we're really going into that almost 7th year and kind of branching out a little bit more. The owner has done really an exceptional job before I came on board of really promoting the school, and now just wanting to take it to the next level. That's when I came on board to help her in doing that. And so I think with the school, it's really about that visibility and growth and showcasing what we do here in the greater Houston area. Whereas Soloso has only been open for about a year, but it's had great success so far. And really the passion behind that was just like you asked me earlier, what I'm excited about. It's always connecting with other people of years of doing workshops, working in the community, working with nonprofits. After kind of leaving the corporates, I used to work at the #1 hospital here in Texas. And after resigning from there, I just went back to that base of let's create this for the family. And now that I've had the experience of how to do this, I want to make a business out of it. Mm-hmm. And so that's really where that began, of creating workshops, going back to the base of working with so many different practitioners who work with me to create these different services that I have. So I think that also goes back to what you said about technology and having a harmonious touch, because working in sync with both of these companies, my goal was to ensure that it's a harmonious touch to that as well. And then even as far as what technology that we can get into, I don't want that to take away the basics of who we are, 6 dimensions of wellness, social, spiritual, intellectual, occupational, physical, and emotional, right? That's who we are when we see each other. So if there's any new program that's coming or a new course that's, yes, it's maybe high end, this is something that's cutting edge, but how does this connect with the students? How does this connect with the community? Do we need to do more research on this before we introduce? Because the last thing we want to do is pull away that human touch and harmonies of the why of we're doing something. There could be a cutting edge technology for an oncology patients that we can start using our new program. But maybe with feedback, the oncology patients just wants to have a little yoga therapy session, have someone to talk to, right? Maybe they don't want a virtual platform. Maybe they want to meet in person, you know? We can have a technology that's available to support, but it always goes back to the needs of that particular individual. And since we've come through the COVID era, right? Whatever's going on with that while we had the technology there and we all knew everyone was meeting via Zoom, we're working from home, families were getting on Zoom, baby showers. There was just so many things happening on Zoom. When we got together again, it's so much better.
Yeah.
Balance, right? So I get to work from home today, or I can do this webinar here. I don't have to go out. So I think that's what we're finding too, is that balance. What I'm doing with these businesses is making sure that it is cutting edge, making sure that the information is up to par, right? Make sure it's not misinformation, but it's what people really want. It isn't something that's going to be beneficial for them, not just now, but like you said, in the next 5 to 6 years. Is there another school that we'll have that's open, or there's many workshops that we're doing annually, working with the community, maybe bringing some people in virtually because we have a need for that, and working with those platforms. So I think, like you said, it's an approach of a harmonious, a holistic approach, as we like to say, of continuing to have that growth and visibility in the next 5 years, making sure we have the right technology to do so. And then number one is making sure that we're able to connect with those that we're trying to help.
Wow. That's beautiful vision.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell there's a lot of passion, right?
Yeah,
so
I hear it all the time. You're so passionate. I was like, well, I guess so. Yeah.
That's part of glow. That's part of beauty.
I think you put us into a trance. We're like, oh, shoot.
Yeah. Wait. Hold on.
All right, let me snap my fingers.
Okay, so if you were to say two things, what does your business do extraordinarily well? And what would your students / clients, if we're talking about the school or Family Wellness, what would they say the best thing is? So those two.
I would say that our students would say what we do exceptionally well is we involve them in hands-on activities, real life application, right? And I would say that for both businesses, starting with the school, not only do we teach them how to do something, or we teach them about how to care for oncology patients. We bring in oncology patients to talk about their experiences and what's going on outside. And once they graduate, how they can be involved. Not only we teach them how to create a business, as part of what we do, we have different community outreach events where we go to businesses and we provide services, and they learn how to interact with future clientele and how to promote themselves. And then I think that's what really sets us apart of just learning the information. And once you graduate, you don't know how to put it into practice because you never had that opportunity to do it. And with Soloso, it's also the same approach in that whenever we are creating a workshop, whenever we are creating a program, there can be great information about yoga therapy and dairy yoga, about colon and gut health, all the hormone and all the stuff that we hear out there all the time. Great stuff. Practical application or real life applications, how does that apply to someone in their 40s or someone in their 20s, or how does that apply to men, right? So the information is great. We see it, we want it. How does that apply to your audience? So really what makes this business so great is that we heavily rely on the realities of the world, aside from what we're reading from the book. and from the textbooks. And where I want to continue to see it grow is continuing in that line of capacity of information is going to change. Information is going to change. There's going to be new trends that are out there, or that we may think is a trend. Test it in the water and see if that's what's really happening in your community, right? Before you see what's happening, everything is on Instagram. This is a new trend. This is a new type of happening. That's great. Test it first in your local area. Really just believe in grassroots initiative of local area, because that's what builds you. That's what creates you. If it's not working within your local area, you got to change it up. There is a business partner that I worked with recently, and she had a great metaphysical concept that she was doing, but sometimes here in Texas, in the Bible Belt, the different, it's a little spooky for some people, right? So she's keeping that in, but changing the aspect of putting in the beauty part and then bringing them into the metaphysical, because it's great. We know about metaphysical wellness on general, but how does it apply to your community? What is that? A real life application and reality that's happening around you. And with that, she's starting to build a new type of clientele that she can then reintroduce to another form of wellness modality. So continuing to do that, that's what makes us different. And the mentorship as well, the wellness that's sprinkled in there, that we're not just taking your money and want you to become an esthetician, but we want you to be whole while you're doing it. It can be very competitive. It can be very mentally draining with the physical aspect of being a perfectionist. How does that look like in the real world? Or what are people really going through? That you learn about one thing, but what do they really need? If that's what you need to focus on. The general information is great, but you need to take what's needed and how you can help your audience.
Wow. So if you were to say in a few words for both the school and for Soloso Family Wellness, what is the specific strongest suite for each?
Strongest, say that again?
The strongest suite for each, or suit for each. Yeah.
Stronger suits for each?
Yeah, like the strongest element of Soloso Family Wellness, if it was one thing, and also for the school. Like what's I kind of have an idea, but yeah.
Okay. I would say for the strongest suite for the schools, we're teaching how to be fearless beauties. And for Soloso, it's family. It's all about
Fearless Beauties. You got to trademark that now. Fearless Beauties.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
The school rising beyond beauty, right? And then for Soloso, it's really about family roots and take care of the whole family.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm excited to visit Houston now.
Yeah.
It's like such a cool opportunity.
Facial. You get a free facial, you get one too.
Hey. All right. There we go.
Amazing.
You keep your beard. You don't have to shave. It's all a part of
Yeah, I always say we gotta. If Andy has his beard, we have to make sure that the whole thing is featured within the podcast.
Right. See, my experience.
Yeah.
I actually, because I didn't really say much. I'm actually come from the door-to-door world. I own a meat, fish, and seafood door-to-door business for 6.5 years, and the rep for 3, so 10 years knocking doors. That's what I actually did. You know, it's interesting in that, because I know that space, because actually a lady we talked to is that they were looking for those door-to-door reps, multi-brand. And I'm thinking about many hundreds of thousands of doors you knock when you're in that space, right? So I turned into a fish monger. Usually my beard is wild, and I'm like, Ridley Adams, people would say. But anyways, but I would appreciate it. Yes.
Yes, of course.
I would save just for it.
Too. Of course, absolutely.
I'm completely open to that. Would love that. So in 6 to 12 months, where do you see Soloso Family Wellness as well as the esthetician school?
In 6 to 12 months, so with the school, I really see us established with a heavier, larger donor base. And in the hospital, part of the vision is to have estheticians involved in healthcare. The beauty and spa is great, but we have those with medically reactive skin, and we have those who have autoimmune disorders, those who are burn victims, where estheticians can come into play, and that starts with the education piece. We're currently piloting with one hospital with volunteer estheticians to see if we can start being a part of the program. So in 6 to 12 months, that pilot will be over and we'll be able to come to agreement. So I'm hoping for a very great agreement that we can have with this hospital that can be our flagship, and we can start doing this all over Houston with estheticians in the healthcare industry. With Soloso, I hope to continue growing that as well, to have a new contract to work with larger businesses, really targeting those businesses that have great products, but they don't have an investment towards wellness for what they're doing for their clients. So I'm hoping to gain a new investor in that I can work with to bring wellness to their current business.
Nice. Do you find that now when you go to these organizations, like, do you find there's a certain type that you tend to resonate more with? Like, is there kind of like, not to say play favorites or anything really, but like at the end of the day, do you find that there's just certain organizations that you resonate more with than others, or?
Yeah. So there's a lot of wellness businesses here that people go to, or Reiki shops, and red light therapy, different lounges that people go to. But for me, I think it's really like a lot of the nonprofits and churches and those type of organizations. Why? They already have a large following of people. And two, those people have already shared with them the concerns that they have regarding their general health and wellness. And it's a matter of them, we've been looking for something like this, or we don't understand what that would look like. Because a lot of times wellness can become complicated. For some people it's Meatless Monday, for some people it's matcha green tea, right? So what does that look for? What does that look like for us? And is it even possible to create something like that? So I think resonate for those who have, I see this a lot, like I said, churches or different other businesses, preschools that are interested we want to move towards this era of bringing this into our environment, but we don't know how to do it. Or is it possible to make it for kids, make it for those who are elderly, make it for maternal or for men's groups? What does that look like? So those are the businesses I find most easier to work with, because they want something, they're not sure, but they're receptive to creating something because they care about the wealth and well-being of those within their company.
Right. Makes sense.
Very interesting. Yes. Andy and I, we work with investors in several different industries, and actually we're part of a launch. I think it's okay to say it because we're launching in like a week or so. Ken's Pain Relief. And it used to be big with Magic Johnson back in the day. And now it's like on another level, and it's having a relaunch, and we're blessed to be at the forefront of that process. But there's so much synergy regarding pain and as far as integrity. So like our friend, Sam Alucho, hope he doesn't mind mentioning, but he actually got several samples of it and then sent it to his most difficult to please friends.
Okay.
One with like sciatica pain and other stuff. And they sent back raving reviews, because that was kind of like we call it litmus test or something, but we had to kind of do that to cross the integrity threshold, but we did. And so now we're putting that out. People are getting incredible results with it, but it's just like kind of the cross that goes into the world of, there's such a cross intersection between investors and product launches and beauty schools. We're working we've been working a little bit with an inventor who has like a facial sculpting. He does a best facial sculpting thing you can find, but he's always wanting to speak with estheticians and individuals, and offers free training. So there's just a lot of intersection. And there's people who might maybe they want to buy that business, or they want to be able to invest in something like this or the other. So there's a lot of cross-pollination or synergies that emerge. So that's one of the reasons why we also love connecting with people and seeing what synergies emerge. You never know. But you mentioned quite a bit of wonderful and very feasible yet demanding goals over the next 6 to 12 months. Is there anything for the Facial and Wellness Society or for Soloso Family Wellness that you feel are the biggest challenges to get to the 6 to 12 month vision?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge really is, while connection is great, it's connecting with the right people. I think that's important. And really this whole year, as the school used to be called the Facial Room Society, and in January we changed it to the Facial Wellness Society to bring in that wellness aspect of what we're doing. And I think the biggest challenge for that is getting that buy-in with sometimes with the staff, understanding these big changes that are happening, and that can be challenging too. And making sure that, like you said, the group we're in synergy of the changes, and then blasting that out to the community that the name has changed. This is who we are, and this is how you can get involved. And that really has put in a lot of legwork on our end with the admin team of going to these different functions and going to different hospitals and letting them know what we do, and really taking charge of some people not understanding, some people interested, but not now. And then it's the funds as well. We're not a private school. We're not a public school, we're a private school. So a lot of those funds go with the operations of the school, and really getting the word out of, yes, we're a private school, we're a business, but we're also giving back. And we also need support as well, because our school, we want to expand it. We want to get more students to be able to come in. So that's always a challenge of being able to rewrite your story and sharing that story with your community to have that audience that understand what you're doing. And we've done great. We've received donations over this past 6 months. We've had an open house. We've worked with nonprofits. And now it's like the time to take it to the next level. As you're receiving support, how can we start giving back? While we do need a new parking space, where we do want to open up a new school. So it's that balancing with finances, telling our story, and really just rewriting of who we are, and so that we can make it a huger impact over these next 5 years from what we did before.
Wonderful. Well, I will say so many things we want to ask, but we have a few more questions.
Okay.
But one of them is, I just want to say the door is wide open anytime. That's the way that you would like to send us any form of pitch deck, any form of request for donors or partnership investment stuff. We would be more than happy to put it forward to our network.
Awesome.
And yeah, so just let us know, and then just give us the parameters. If there's any people you want to see it, or any kind of investors you don't want to see it, or whatever you'd like. And we'd love to do that for you anytime you'd like. Yeah. So that's just, you never know what comes up or what type of things. It can be events.
Yeah.
Anything related to nonprofit stuff, also let us know, because we also have some people in our network who are very involved in certain kind of nonprofit things, and there's different kinds of synergies. So yeah, just it's an open door. So on another note, trying to do a monologue here.
You're doing great.
Thank you. What would you say the biggest struggle has been in leveraging, because this is the harder part of AI these days, is when it comes to, I'm going to give you an advanced word that this is what my AI connection told me. There's another AI connection that I haven't even met yet in California, which I would love to meet. There's a lady who was telling me, he's one of the founders, I guess, one of the founders of like AI stuff in general out in California. I have to go ask her his name again, but she said she would connect us. So I'd love to do that. But one of the words that is a big deal apparently that hasn't come up, but watch for it, because everything that this guy told me seems to come up like years later. And the word is executing functions. So on the one hand, you have AI that is, and they try to hide it with different names. So they're like agents and all this stuff, but that's kind of almost like hiding it, and it just slows down, I think, the advancement. But executing functions is like a large language model. It will answer your questions. But then when it starts executing functions, that means it'll do things like send an email, or go and look for everything blue in 30 videos, and then create a logo with all the shades of that blue or something. Like, it'll do things very specific, or make a phone call, etc. But I would say, like, in adopting AI solutions that kind of go beyond information, maybe leveraging it for outreach for donors or investors, or any solutions that you think would catapult your 6 to 12 month goals and related to the education, finding that harmony that we spoke of, and any way you can think of, what do you feel has been the biggest challenge in adopting those solutions?
Wow. I think for me, it's I think the information sometimes can be overwhelming and redirecting of what you need. Like, for example, I use Perplexity before of understanding about grants for small businesses or those who are giving out, being able to contribute, right? Donations. And it'll give you this long list. And some of it applies and some of it does not, right? But you have to kind of go through. And then I remember one list I went through was just a complete null and brick wall. There was no helpful information after all the time spent. So I think for me that functionality, and AI can't read your brain, right? You can only type in the information that it will send you, but maybe
Depends who
additional
you ask.
thoughts. Has that started yet? I don't know. That's the part that's really scary for me. I saw something with Elon Musk and something on the brain for something that I don't know.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can, but yeah, it depends
Okay,
what kind of sensors they have.
Okay, so we're already there. Point case, taking the point. So I think for me, that redirection of what you say, if it's building a logo and you want it to be a particular shade of blue and it starts bringing in all of those blues, is there a way, is there a training available of when you talk to AI and you want something specific and you may want to amass more information, this is a certain key to put in to narrow it down to this information or to narrow it down to this. So really it's bringing in, filtering more information that's exactly what you need instead of a plethora of information that you still have to research and it may come out to a dead end because AI did its job of bringing that, pulling for everything out of the earth and bringing it to you. But it may be only one or two things that apply to you. That's a lot of mental energy or integrity to go through and research and get the information that's right just for you. Whereas if you are research on your own, you probably would have come to those one or two resources, but it would have taken you longer still. But at least you would have come to resources that were intended but needed for you, and not just a plethora of information that can leave you feel overwhelmed and like this activity was pointless.
Right. Yeah. You get that. And then it's like, it gives this output and then it's like, you needed the output and you're grateful for all 50 references, but then you're like, oh goodness. Yeah. And that's kind of where executing functions can come in. Like, for example, just to share. So like, it is possible to code scripts and the whole purpose of that script would be just as an example of an automation. So maybe for 1 month or 2 or 3 weeks, every time you do that, you say what you're doing to like an app that someone gives you or like we give you or that you create. And then at the end of those 3 weeks, it analyzes and turns that into steps.
Interesting.
And then you code a script that does in a very granular way and strict way, those same steps, but you're in control of it. And then it delivers back to you a completely different kind of output. So it would be like integrity bot. And then it doesn't replace what you would do, but it would just like shorten the process. Cause I've been there with output and you're like, this is great. Like I've literally like done some huge prompt and then I'm like, okay, Andy, here's the output. And he reads faster than me. So then I'm like irritated because I'm like, this guy is going to know the fruit of my hard work way before I do. And then it's like some like, how, how many pages it is. But yeah, just for example. So it sounds like it's just finding that flow. It's a beautiful setup, but it's like you're trying to get to, like you said, it's the fine tuning. It's like you're just smoothing out. You've got a good process, but you love being out there, connecting hearts, sharing education, and just you like smoothing out and adding more efficiency to that. Someone had shared with me like a question that like kind of opened up my mind. This person I knew named Elena, and they said, people used to think efficiency is just about stuff happening faster or with less parts. But she was saying, what if love is actually what makes something efficient?
Wow.
So it's like a different angle of looking at the same question. And it's like, yeah, like you might try to do something efficiency, maybe it's a shortcut, but might not be thinking about the longer term impacts of that like efficiency. Yeah. So I love what you said about keeping that human part there. And it's kind of like shaping how I'm thinking of like such automation. Cause a lot of people be like, you did the automation. Now you don't have to look at anything anymore. And it's like, well, that's kind of not the idea. That's wonderful. So if you were to say why that matters to you, in a few words, like why that matters to you so deeply to get to that place of kind of increased efficiency, increased networking, efficacy, connecting with people, enhancing the culture, or kind of sharing the vision and mindset and it being adopted by the people within both the school and the Soloso Family Wellness. What would you say, if you were to say in a few words, why is that, like, what is that core reason why that's so important to you?
I think the core reason of that, the best way to answer that is with the definition of wellness from the National Wellness Institute. And wellness is defined as a conscious, self-directed, evolving process whereby individuals become aware of and make choices towards a successful existence. The goal of everything that we do is that you have a successful existence, you're successful in what you're doing and reach your fullest potential. If you're in a business, right, you want to reach your fullest potential. You don't want to stagnate at year 5 and start going down. There's nothing else going on. What does the fullest potential look like? What does the fullest potential look like for you in AI? What does it look like for you as your business, as you're growing, as you're upscaling and doing new projects? What does that fullest potential look like? So I think with everything that's done, my goal and really at the center of it is to get to the fullest potential for it to have a successful existence. Whether it's your business, whether it's an esthetician, whether it's wellness, everything you do, there should always be a plan to continue moving forward.
Thank you so much, Sawayla. That is
Thank
really
you.
hits that, speaking of heart-to-heart connections, that definitely hits the heart and would inspire anyone who hears that vision. So beautifully said. And it makes me think about like the quality of being. So that's wonderful. And we really appreciate your time. Everybody, this is Sawayla, and she's the president of the Facial and Wellness Society in Houston, as well as owner of Soloso Family Wellness. And we're really glad to have had this uplifting conversation. And before we go, we just also let you know we do partner with businesses. Like the idea, we love to help people reach lofty visions in the health and wellness industry, as well as some others, and help them get to where they want to be. Because the missing link is often people try to help others get to where you want them to be. But what we're interested in is helping people get to where they would like to be. So we'd love to share with you, like Andy and I would reflect on this, but how we can do that on a follow-up call if you'd be interested. And it would just match what you said about really conveying and adding efficiency without compromising kind of the harmony, and maximizing with heart kind of those outreach processes. And if I read the room correctly, giving you more time to kind of be in these spaces, connecting with people like donors and influencers within the actual community, and less time behind the screen. So the time behind the screen ends up just feeling like, oh yeah, I need to get away from everything else. And I'm just having some nice time behind the screen with my favorite beverage or something while I'm doing also this research. But yeah, so I don't know how that sounds to you, but does that sound all right?
Yes.
Okay,
Read the
wonderful.
room correctly.
Okay, wonderful.
So what John said there, I was just kind of like thinking of this because that's the kind of the trend that we're seeing as we're getting on these podcasts, is that they're working for their business. Like right now, you're the president of that, but you have this personal endeavor, almost like a mission, and the connections that everybody wants to have. And that's like that's what we really are good at. That's kind of what Hassan and I have been working together for quite a while. And that's what we're really good at, building up networks and stuff. And we have people that, with your permission, we would love to introduce you to.
Okay.
Whether they have products or just like organizations and whatnot. I'm already just thinking, okay, who can we just introduce to you that you guys could like create something magical together? So that's kind of my 2 cents.
Or at least have on a list where when it feels kind of, oh, this person for this thing, or roll
That
with
would
that.
be great. That would be great.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. And one last question. If you had your, like, what is the most burning desire? Like, if you're like, if I could get these people on, I know you're talking about churches and all that kind of stuff. Like, what is that? Like, that's that guy that's on YouTube, not YouTube. I will see him on Reels. That Bashar guy, he channels.
Yes.
He's like, Daryl, he says, what excites you the most? What is the most exciting thing right now? Like when you think, close your eyes and feel that abundance, where does your brain go?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I have to close my eyes first, Andy.
Like the heart, sorry. How did it project it?
Take your time.
So what's on, right? Okay. So ask again, what's burning on my mind right now?
Like close your eyes, because Hassan have been very intentional and mindful about this. So I've been reading the same mantra, the detachments, the when you feel abundance. So closing your eyes and letting that feeling of goodness and abundance well up. Where does like your mind go when you feel at the utmost, when you're closing your eyes and just thinking of in only the most positive way?
I have a very vivid imagination, but
Nice.
I think my mind really just goes to nature, any place that I could see myself on a beach and nature, connecting with people. I think that leaves me in the most positive mindset. And then hope and expectation. Like after this call with you all, it really sets that burning desire to high because the new connection that's been made of people who are within this industry and interested in, I gives me hope that I'm getting closer to the goal that I want to reach. So, and that goal includes being out in nature and being at the beach and being able to travel and being able to share the story with others as well. So I think that's what really keeps me the neck, the possibility of this going out and traveling and just like a wind, like a scent. You can smell it from one room and then it just starts disseminating. And where is it coming from? It started way in the back, but you're patiently fanning those flames.
Right.
But it's so that it gets out.
And the feeling of kind of manifesting, right? Like the physical reality of dreams. That's
Yes.
amazing. I would say, well, I guess kind of a question. What if you could travel any place, the beach you're saying, which beach are you thinking right now?
Well, I think I would want to go to Nice in France.
Nice. All the good. By the way, I'm Canadian, so I'm actually up in Calgary, Alberta, just to give you an idea.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
I just
French.
really
A lot of French. Well,
Say that again.
we took a lot of French in school. That's what we had to do.
Okay. So I did a school in high school, and I'm very my French name in high school was Hassan, and that's about all that I can recall right now.
Don't worry, everybody who took French class has no idea unless they really were into French. Even if we go for it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's where we go.
Sounds lovely.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much, Sawayla. We have more questions, but we know that you have also so much on your plate. We really appreciate your time today. We'll follow up. I guess we'll just send an email and maybe in a couple of days. I don't know if maybe Monday or Tuesday might work for you. We'll edit this, so don't worry. They won't be looking at it. Yeah.
Did she get my good side on?
Yeah. Oh, we don't have to do that. Don't worry. It's coming through. That was effortless for you. But yeah, just let us know if Monday or Tuesday for a brief 20, 30 minute quick follow-up might work. And again, thank you so much for your time. And yeah.
They really appreciate your energy that radiates.
Wow. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel you also to coming on. I was like, okay, I'm seeing smiles and high energy. It really helps with everything. So Andy and Hassan, do you all find me on LinkedIn?
We have an AI system. And you were one of the individuals that came up within a certain level of parameters that made sense to talk with. Yeah. Well, to reach out to. Yeah.
Well, there you go. AI is doing it again.
Oh, yeah.
Connections, actually. And,
indeed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you all so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
I truly appreciate you for reaching out. It's been wonderful. I look forward to reconnecting with you all.
Same.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care, Sawayla.
Really appreciate it. Right, thank you so much. You too.